The weekly Podioplex will begin after this short podcasting promotional.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Forgotten Flicks. I'm Joel, and I'm here, as always, with my co-host Jason.
The whole point of the Forgotten Flicks podcast, the idea behind it, was that we wanted to create something, a mouthpiece for fans of movies from the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s, the movies that we all grew up with.
This was one of the worst movies I've seen in a long
You are full of crap. Are you being serious?
I will never, ever see him as anything else but Edgar, the cockroach guy from Men in Black.
Full Metal Jacket.
I loved it. His playing that Edgar role in Men in Black was hilarious.
Who do you think you are all of a sudden? I can't believe you hate this movie.
Everything is so contrived, painfully so. I'm just going to read through my notes.
And whether you remember the movies or you forgot about them or maybe you never even heard of the movies we're talking about, the point is that we're all keeping the memories of the movies we love alive.
Find us on iTunes or ForgottenFlix.com.
This is Michael Faulkner, and it's showtime at the March 20th, 2012 edition of the Weekly Podioplex, brought to you by the Chronic Rift. Happy vernal equinox, everyone, and welcome to spring. Pardon me while I go sneeze. Starting with the box office report, this weekend's rundown kicks off at number 10, and This Means War, down 1 from 9th. In 9th place is new release Casa de Mi Padre, opening with $2.3 million in 382 locations. At number 8 is Journey to The Mysterious Island, jumping up 2 from last week's 10th. Holding steady at 7th place is Safe House, and also holding steady in 6th place is 1,000 Words. At 5th, we have Act of Valor, slipping 1 from 4th with $3.7 million and a new total of $62.5 million. In 4th place is Project X, taking in $4 million as it slips 1 place from 3rd with a new total of $48.2 million. In 3rd place is last week's runner-up, John Carter, adding $13.6 million to a total of $53.2 million. In 2nd is last week's winner, Dr. Seuss's The Lorax, pulling in $22.7 million for a new total of $158.4 million. Coming in at number 1 this week is new release 21 Jump Street, bringing in $36.3 million in opening weekend. That tops Superbad's $33.1 million for the highest opening ever for a comedy set in a high school. Excluding Jackass 3D, 21 Jump Street also had the top opening for an R-rated comedy outside of the summer months. In TV adaptations, it was below Get Smart's $38.7 million and SWAT's $37.1 million, but it was higher than The Dukes of Hazzard, Starsky and Hutch, Miami Vice, and The A-Team. Closing out the box office report, let's take a look at what was winning in the box office in years gone by. 5 years ago in 2007, TMNT, the 4th entry in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles franchise, was number 1 with $24.3 million. 10 years ago in 2002, it was a vampire. It was Blade 2 with $32.5 million. 20 years ago in 1992, Basic Instinct defeated Wayne's World for the number 1 spot with $15.1 million. 30 years ago in 1982, Porky's maintained number 1 for the 2nd week in a row with $8.6 million. And 40 years ago in 1972, The Godfather started its long run with $5.9 million. The week of March 23rd is taking one shot at knocking out 21 Jump Street. That shot is The Hunger Games, an action drama starring Jennifer Lawrence, Josh Hutcherson, and Liam Hemsworth.
Want to see what I got you today? It's a Mockingjay pin. As long as you have it, nothing bad will happen to you. I promise.
Welcome and happy Hunger Games.
I just love that. Ladies first. Primrose Everdeen. I volunteer! I volunteer as tribute.
You're stronger than they are.
There's 24 of us, Gail. Only one comes out. No! Take care of them, Gail. Whatever you do, don't let them starve.
Katniss Everdeen, the girl on fire!
What did you say to your sister when you volunteered at the reaping?
I told her that I would try to win for her.
And try you will.
I just keep wishing that I could think of a way to show them that they don't own me. If I'm gonna die, I want to still be me.
I just can't afford to think like that.
Set in a future where the Capitol selects a boy and girl from the 12 districts to fight to the death on live television, Katniss Everdeen volunteers to take her younger sister's place for the latest match. The Hunger Games is rated PG-13. It's also a short week in the limited slate. The first movie is The Raid: Redemption, an action crime thriller starring Iko Uwais, Ananda George, and Ray Saatapi. A SWAT team becomes trapped in a tenement run by a ruthless mobster and his army of killers and thugs. The Raid: Redemption is rated R. The next title on the limited slate is The Deep Blue Sea, a romantic drama starring Rachel Weisz, Tom Hiddleston, and Anne Mitchell. The wife of a British judge is caught in a self-destructive love affair with a Royal Air Force pilot. The Deep Blue Sea is rated R and opens in New York City and Los Angeles. And the last title on the limited slate is October Baby, a drama starring Rachel Hendricks, Jason Berkey, and John Schneider. A college freshman's world is rocked when she learns she is the adopted survivor of an attempted abortion. October Baby is rated PG-13. March 20th brings in spring for the home entertainment market with several new releases. The first is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, a mystery thriller starring Daniel Craig, Rooney Mara, and Christopher Plummer. Journalist Mikhail Blomkist is aided in his search for a woman who has been missing for 40 years by Elizabeth Salander, a young computer hacker. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo is rated R. Next on the list is The Muppets, a comedy starring Amy Adams, Jason Segel, and Chris Cooper. With the help of 3 fans, the Muppets must reunite to save their old theater from a greedy oil tycoon. The Muppets is rated PG. The next title on our slate is Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, a mystery thriller starring Gary Oldman, Colin Firth, and Tom Hardy. In the bleak days of the Cold War, espionage veteran George Smiley is forced from semi-retirement to uncover a Soviet agent within MI6. Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy is rated R. The next title is a little lighter. It's called Hop. It's a family film starring Russell Brand, James Marsden, and Elizabeth Perkins. E.B., the Easter Bunny's teenage son, heads to Hollywood, determined to become a drummer in a rock and roll band. In Los Angeles, he's taken in by Fred after the out-of-work slacker hits E.B. with his car. Hop is rated PG. The next title is Carnage, a drama starring Jodie Foster, Kate Winslet, and Christoph Waltz. 2 pairs of parents hold a cordial meeting after their sons are involved in a fight, though as their time together progresses, increasingly childish behavior throws the evening into chaos. Carnage is rated R. And the last title on the DVD Blu-ray new releases is The Sitter, a comedy starring Jonah Hill, Ari Graynor, and Sam Rockwell. The Sitter is a comedy about a college student on suspension who is coaxed into babysitting the kids next door, though he is fully unprepared for a wild night ahead of him. The Sitter is rated R. Moving on to TV on DVD, we kick things off with Scarecrow and Mrs. King, the complete 3rd season, starring Kate Jackson and Bruce Boxleitner. Amanda King is a divorced housewife who lives with her mother and her young sons. One morning, agency operative Lee Stetson, codenamed Scarecrow, hands her a package while he's being pursued. He instructs her to give it to the man in the red hat, but she's unable to complete that assignment because there are so many men in red hats in the train car at the same time. Scarecrow later has to track her down to recover the package, inadvertently getting her involved with his case. And when he's captured by his pursuers and marked for elimination, Amanda ends up solving the secret behind the package, finding and rescuing Stetson, and even taking down their opponents, and gets introduced to the agency. Mrs. Lee becomes an agent, and the team develops a close friendship. This release is the 3rd season of the 4 that ran on CBS from 1983 to 1987. Next, we take a look at The Adventures of Tintin Season 2, starring Colin Amira and David Fox. Young Tintin and his trusty canine sidekick, Snowy, are back for another season of heroic escapades and globe-trotting adventures. Based on the comic strip by Herge, The Adventures of Tintin Season 2 tracks Tintin and Snowy everywhere from the Himalayas to the Middle East in pursuit of truth and justice. Along with the brackish Captain Haddock, skillful Professor Calculus, and ham-fisted Thompson and Thompson, they investigate a mysterious meteor, exploding cars, missing persons, and much more. And the final title on this week's TV on DVD slate is Kojak Season 3, starring Telly Savalas. Season 3 finds Kojak embroiled in a series of high-profile cases involving the savage murder of a priest, a car theft ring, an 18-year-old homicide cold case, a cop killer, and a mob hit ordered on Kojak himself. Known for pushing the limits with a fiery intensity while keeping a cool head, Kojak never let the law get in the way of justice. Created by Emmy and Academy Award-winning writer Abby Mann, Kojak ran for 5 seasons on CBS from 1973 to 1978 and spawned a series of TV movies throughout the 80s and 90s. Next up, we'll take a look at the releases coming to Netflix streaming for the week of March 18th to March 24th. March 18th and March 19th are quiet days, but March 20th has 3 titles. The first is Women Art Revolution, a documentary from 2010 starring Lynn Hershman Leeson. Through intimate interviews, provocative art, and rare historical film and video footage, this feature documentary reveals how art addressing political consequences of discrimination and violence radically transformed the art and culture of our times. Women Art Revolution is not rated. The next title for March 20th is The Rainbow Tribe, a family comedy from 2011 starring David James Elliott, Grayson Russell, and Ed Quinn. A ragtag group of children at a sleepaway camp help their counselor overcome a personal crisis. The Rainbow Tribe is not rated. And last for March 20th, we have This Is Not a Movie, a comedic drama from 2011 starring Edward Furlong, Peter Coyote, and Edie Gathegi. With the end of the world imminent, Pete Nelson locks himself inside a Las Vegas hotel. There, he tries to understand his confused reality influenced by film, TV, pop culture, disinformation, drugs, and propaganda. The journey that follows is a surreal, psychedelic, apocalyptic quest where nothing is what it seems. This Is Not a Movie is not rated. I remember Edward Furlong. He was that squeaky kid from Terminator 2. March 21st has 2 titles coming to the stream. The first is Sarah's Key, a war drama from 2010 starring Kristen Scott Thomas, Melusine Mayance, and Niels Arstrup. In modern-day Paris, a journalist finds her life becoming entwined with a young girl whose family was torn apart during the notorious Vel de Vive roundup in 1942. Sarah's Key is rated PG-13. The other title for March 21st is The Music Never Stopped, a drama from 2010 starring Lou Taylor Pucci, J.K. Simmons, and Julie Ormond. The Music Never Stopped is the tale of a father who struggles to bond with his estranged son Gabriel after Gabriel suffers from a brain tumor that prevents him from forming new memories. With Gabriel unable to shed the beliefs and interests that cause their physical and emotional distance, Henry must learn to embrace his son's choices and try to connect with him through music. The Music Never Stopped is rated PG. March 22nd has 1 title, that's Internal Affairs, a crime thriller from 1990 starring Richard Gere, Andy Garcia, and Laurie Metcalf. Keen young Raymond Avila joins the Internal Affairs Department of the Los Angeles Police. He and partner Amy Wallace are soon looking closely at the activities of cop Dennis Peck, whose financial holdings start to suggest something shady. Internal Affairs is rated R. March 23rd is quiet, but March 24th has 1 title. That's The Queen of the Sun, What Are the Bees Telling Us? A documentary from 2010 starring Gunther Hawk, Michael Pollan, and Vandana Shiva. Taking us on a journey through the catastrophic disappearance of bees and the mysterious world of the beehive, this engaging and ultimately uplifting film weaves an unusual and dramatic story of the heartfelt struggle of beekeepers, scientists, and philosophers from around the world. Together they reveal both the problems and the solutions in renewing a culture in balance with nature. Queen of the Sun, What Are the Bees Telling Us? Is not rated. And last on the home entertainment slate, we take a look at Blu-rays from the past. This week we have 2 titles. The first is Battle Royale, an action thriller from 2000 starring Tatsuya Fujiwara, Aki Maeda, and Taro Yamamoto. In the future, the Japanese government captures a class of 9th grade students and forces them to kill each other under the revolutionary Battle Royale Act. Battle Royale is not rated. The other title for the Blu-rays from the past is Lady for a Day, a comedy from 1933 starring Warren William, May Robson, and Guy Kibbe. A gangster tries to make Apple Annie, the Times Square apple seller, a lady for a day. Lady for a Day is approved by the Motion Picture Association of America. We've got a little extra time this week, so I'm going to close this out with 6 items in the Quick Flicks. TED, which stands for Technology, Entertainment, and Design, is a non-profit organization devoted to ideas worth spreading. It started in 1984 as a conference bringing together people from 3 worlds, technology, entertainment, and design, and since then its scope has expanded to 2 annual conferences and various other projects. The 2 annual TED conferences, one in Long Beach, Palm Springs, and the other in Edinburgh, Scotland, bring together the world's most fascinating thinkers and doers who are challenged to give the talk of their lives in 18 minutes or less. Now on TED.com, the best of those performances from TED are available for free, and now Netflix has added a number of curated TED video collections to their stream. TED.com will be linked in the show notes, and if you run a search for TED, that's the letters T-E-D, on Netflix, you'll find their available library. Michael Bay is making Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fans a little nervous. He's making a movie about the lean green heroes on the half-shell, but a recent statement is leading fans to believe that he's not quite sure about their real origins. Speaking about the upcoming films, Bay said, quote, "These turtles are from an alien race, and they're going to be tough, edgy, funny, and completely lovable," end quote. Alien race? No. Somebody get this guy a comic book or the live-action films of the 90s or something. Because unless he's saying that the mutagenic ooze is of alien origin or something, this really shakes things up in the franchise. A brief item for you from Steven Spielberg. Despite promising that he was done tinkering with his library of titles, we're getting a 3D version of Jurassic Park. The dinosaur movie will hit theaters on July 19th, 2013, and this is the only title Spielberg has mentioned wanting to convert to 3D. On another short note, Joss Whedon fans have wanted a sequel to Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog since the first one hit the internet about 4 years ago. But with projects like Dollhouse, The Cabin in the Woods, Much Ado About Nothing, and some little summer film called The Avengers, he hasn't quite had the time. Well, he does now. Asked during a South by Southwest interview about Dr. Horrible 2, Whedon responded, "We plan to be working on it this summer." For some, the opening weekend for John Carter marked the $300 million film as a failure. Despite that, the film itself has inspired fans to tell Disney to make more John Carter. Forbes magazine reported on the existence of a Facebook group called Take Me Back to Barsoom, I Want John Carter to Have a Sequel, which has over 2,000 fans and encourages them to take to social media. A sequel has at least been started, and rumors suggest that it would be based on the book The Gods of Mars, but economics is going to play a major role. The Mouse House recently spoke about the film, and they made absolutely no mention of a sequel. Quote, "In light of the theatrical performance of John Carter, with $184 million global box office, we expect the film to generate an operating loss of approximately $200 million during our second fiscal quarter ending March 31st. As a result, our current expectation is that the studio segment will have an operating loss between $80 and $120 million for the second quarter. As we look forward to the second half of the year, we're excited about the upcoming release of The Avengers and Brave, which we believe have tremendous potential to drive value for the studio and the rest of the company," end quote. The future doesn't look too good for that franchise. And last, if you wanted to catch a midnight showing of The Hunger Games in IMAX, you would have been out of luck. The film will open on 270 IMAX screens in North America, and will only be on them for about 1 week, and the first midnight shows are pretty much sold out. But fear not, Lionsgate has a solution. Add more shows. IMAX president Greg Foster said, quote, "With 2 weeks to go, we have seen substantial midnight sellouts in IMAX theaters across the country, leading exhibitors to begin offering 3 a.m. shows to meet the demand." So, if you have nothing important to do on Friday morning, this might be your opportunity to catch the film before everyone else. If you want to discuss anything you heard on this week's edition, please take a moment to get in touch. You can start on over to chronicriff.com and leave a note on the forums. You can leave a voicemail at 888-866-9010, or you can write to John at chronicriff.com. You can follow us on Tumblr, tweet us on Twitter, check it in the network on GetGlue, watch the classics on Funny or Die, give us a thumbs up on Stitcher Radio, and leave us a review on iTunes. You can also find the Weekly Podioplex and the Chronic Rift on Facebook and Google+. A big thanks go out to those of you who have already reached out to us in recent weeks to express your support of the show. We here at the Chronic Rift deeply appreciate your support and friendship. If you decide to pick up any of this week's new releases, why not do it through our Amazon store? You get the newest entertainment at Amazon's low prices and high-quality service, and each purchase you make through the store supports the Chronic Rift. Look for the link in our show notes. The Weekly Podioplex is a Lucky Shot production and is produced by John S. Drew. This is Michael Faulkner. Thanks for listening. We'll see you at the theater.
That's a wrap.